Hi Taurus, welcome to your weeklies. This is February 22nd to 28th, and I just want to thank you for supporting the channel. So if you subscribe, you're going to get it right in your box to know when is your forecast. And if you also subscribe, like, share, and view these videos, then also you might be getting that earlier, as some of the signs are really like pushing forward. So I'm just trying to motivate you to kind of like help me help you. I guess the goal is to get to a number of subscribers where it would make sense to kind of like have weekly half an hour or hour, sort of like where you can have this live session and where I can address some questions directly. Free, of course, right? So, all right, let's go into seeing your weekly. So the base cards are Six of Sea and Sky Kitten. So Taurus, this is being out of your element, but enjoying it. You see the kitties jumping in spite of that being a water. So this is proverbial fish out of the water or cat in the water kind of a card. And this is basically a card of communication. But this communication is not the most refined communication, so it could be kind of like truth without being wrapped up. So what is this basically putting together as a message? Like, this is the ultimate card of nostalgia and you feeling that things in the past were better, where basically you were just cat in the water. And sort of like you are a little bit misled, or you're misleading yourself to think this is the way, you wanted it. So just be careful of that. But when we go to really base of the week, we are back to Earth and your Earth signs. So this is the ultimate, the Earth King over here, and being crossed with Seven of Earth. So lovely. You are like actually spending this week in your element, where you're going to basically try to strive to really what Taurus does best. How do I get good food? How do I get good purse? How do I look elegant? How do I look beautiful? And you are willing to wait for it. So lovely. Absolutely love this base. It's like so grounding. Like, why are you coming back to your basics? Because you kind of came from the floating cat. You had some thoughts. You were starting to look at people. You sort of like were expanding your personality and started to see how others actually see issues, right? As a result of that, the lesson for you this week and this month would be the cat. This is just trying to find new ways, trying to find what other smells, what other kind of like things might be interesting. So this is what basically expanded you. You were going through something that maybe was not the easiest path, but it's expanding you so much that you're trying new things right now. Also, you are toying with your emotions, and kind of emotions are okay for Earth, but kind of like it is something that makes you feel comfortable, and you guys are one of the few basically categories, like the earth signs, that can actually go deep along with water signs. So Sea Queen is like the message that you have learned, to be really emotional, to really be all this romantic, all this kind of lace, etc. And this kind of like was something you toyed with for a while. Now it's more or less a lesson, but you're coming back to being grounded. But basically, again, a repetition of what is still going on will be Eight of Sea. Well, there is still something that you're still intrigued about, the emotional part, because here you're still hearing a distant drummer, so to speak, or basically the sound of the distant seas, and you're still kind of wondering. This is, I guess, connected to your nostalgia card over here, as well as like this emotional kind of lovely experience that you had. But this is basically saying that somehow you might be stuck in a pattern, that you are still not acknowledging, while the ground is like where you need to be, and sort of like the ground is who you really are. Sort of like this floating cat made you think, which way is it? Maybe the other people are doing this way, maybe I should change it. Sometimes it's good to know about other people without really going for it. You can just take bits and pieces, right? I mean, if I like an ice cream, I can still go for an ice cream, but in small dosages. I don't have to go nuts, maybe, because my metabolism doesn't take it. And trust me, it doesn't take it. So, okay, so let me go to the next stage. Okay, so let's continue. So this was basically our cross of definition, which basically shows that there is sort of a mixture in between, you know, it's like almost like on a path where you kind of like have crossroads where really you have thorn between different kind of aspects of your life. And this is all good. It means like you are improving. So let me see the angel card here, which basically I drew for you. And you got deception. Someone is wearing a false self-mask in this relationship. What exactly would that mean? I think that kind of would be a nudge, like when you draw this card, that to beware of a deception within a relationship. This doesn't have to be anything major. It could be just something really mild, like somebody's overly polite to you, and as a result of that politeness, they are like really not telling you the truth. Or maybe you're the one who is wearing the mask because you're not disclosing something. But I think you are disclosing because this is kind of like overly disclosing. So this is the problem with this card. I actually don't mind Sky Kitten. I mean, even though they're like dandelions here that you kind of step on, etc. It's like a nice, youthful, kind of like playful energy. Maybe they're just saying too much. But at the same time, some people cannot take it, especially if you're dealing with water signs, because that's completely opposite to kind of like the softness that they have. And since you're like somewhere in the middle, maybe you kind of like push somebody away with these kind of things, and going from to extremes from water to basically sky, it can be also confusing. So just like be aware of the communication to find kind of like the right kind of like heat level where you actually want to communicate and also you want to invite others to communicate, and that's basically where you kind of get grounded. So where do we go from here? We really go to the whatever is the real question, and we have here Five of Fire. Well, Five of Fire could be kind of like, it's not really a fight, as you can see. It's like more or less kind of fake fight, sort of like testing how far you can go. Well, let me show you what basically, how that really feels. Well, I guess you get it. So competition is like really not bad, and friendly teasing is not bad. I just like make sure that if there is actually tension, diffuse it with humor, and like, I mean, be a good sport, right? You just have to remember with this card that you're all on the same side. Now, we are coming to kind of situation that maybe hasn't been taken account, the feelings of others, and even your own feelings. So again, this is something new, like a new ideas, and it kind of like relates to your kind of like Sky Kitten, because this is Ace of Sky. It's a very strong energy, very, very forceful energy. It's not necessarily the energy that is highly comfortable for you. And it might be something that you're pushed into doing, something completely brand new, and something that is still yet new thing to discover. So we are getting to kind of like spiritual ideal and sort of like things that we need to work on to kind of like overcome issues and get to our goal. So Seven of Sea. It is highly controversial card. I've seen many people interpreting it differently. I can only tell you to how basically I experienced it in my life. And also here it's coming in a reverse situation. The reason why I love this deck is like it's so easy to really understand it. And this is pretty much my my experience with Seven of Cups or Seven of Sky. So you have a kitty kind of playing with water bubbles, right? And each of them appears to have shine, and each of them appears to have a world of its own. But the moment when you touch them, it just kind of pops, right? So, you know, kind of like you come close to it, you really, really think that's what it is. And then all of a sudden, was it or wasn't it? Here, let me show you this as well, so that we kind of can be really, that we're all on the same page. A picture says 1,000 words, and then video basically says millions. So basically, this is the feeling. This is what you need to overcome. You have to overcome this choosing. You have to figure out what you want, and you're actually doing it this week because you're taking so many different elements, and yet somebody's pushing you out of your element. You're going back into that kind of like feelings, but ultimately you're going to get grounded. Ultimately, you're getting this like Four of Earth. Sort of it's a party kind of card, but sometimes it can be a lonely party because, like you see, the kitty is hoarding his little toys over here. But nevertheless, it's really grounding energy and coming back to where you started, right? These are all earth cards, and this is all really comfortable for you, and you're striving to be the best you can be as an earth sign. And again, remember, your lesson for the month is really to explore, and which is that you are doing, right? You're just trying the new things. This is this proverbial fool, and it's really good. So, like, I mean, this exploration means that you have to subject yourself to many different elements. You have to subject yourself to something that's kind of a mirage, that doesn't look real, some strong energy of communication, to maybe friendly competition, to kind of like digging out with what is the right level of communication, seeing things from a different angle. So altogether, it's kind of going to be really interesting week. What I want to do here, I want to clarify this deception and see if anything is really in particular that is calling, because we see kind of like that masks, right? Which you kind of have to make sure to understand that we're communicating with people, they're masks. Okay, so let's see, Taurus, 22nd, 28. Please clarify deception. What is this deception about? You got an old woman, surprise, and pleasure seekers. Old woman is being wise and something from the past. Surprise is a good thing. It's a guy who is fishing, but instead of fish, he's getting money. And pleasure seekers, something that really, you know, doesn't really give like long-lasting feeling. So I think this is just a repetition of this card. It says you need to be wise about your choices, and you have to question what really brings you luck and how, and if this overly sweet attitude is really representing you, or you're going to go back. And it's calling you back to, like, usually the first card has the biggest weight because the other two clarify it. It kind of like asking you for being wise, asking you to kind of go back to your past and find out what exactly are the resources that you have and how do you deal with it, and really, do you really want the mask or not? And also, another card I want to check is like that 5 of fire, which is your situation right now. Okay. We have faithfulness, hope, and widower. So again, there are different energies kind of like playing here at play. We have loyalty and hope. So basically here you're hoping that somebody's not going to burn you. You're maybe getting involved in a situation that could be a little bit out of your element because fire is torching earth. This is absolutely not your element. If anything, that's one of the harshest basically elements for you. But you are really trusting, and watch for this deception, because you have to find who you can trust and who you cannot trust, because some people you can trust can be no-go. And this is all that is basically cautioning you here. Again, just like the meaning of the card. Be careful who are friends and who are your enemies. And watch out, it doesn't go too far because it can end badly for you or for somebody else. So, what I want to do last, I would like to pick the runes, if I find where my runes are. Okay, so let's go back to that. The cat, or the proverbial fool. because this is your lesson, and I want to clarify that lesson. And so let's see how Kaunas and Fool work together. Because this is the rune of passion and insight. But it is inverted. Even though it is pointing out this way, which kind of goes back to kind of like realize what is real, what is not real. Go back to that little video. So what is basically the rune saying? If it's upright or in the right position, it would say that love touches you and that you get clarity. So again, Fool doesn't have clarity. Fool actually doesn't have any preconception. Here, like you're a blank slate. You don't have a baggage. You are just starting all over again. You were never cheated. Like everything went well in your life. So sort of like it's like really, really, if you wish, clean energy, as if you're just born and everything that is being placed in your body, if it's healthy, it's just going to come out healthy, and vice versa. So you are basically starting completely new process. So when this is kind of inverted, when you're kind of like getting to this stage, this light that kind of this symbolizes it kind of fades, because in love that kind of means that attraction can be fading, right? And again, that goes to deception. Maybe you're with someone who you're trying to convince yourself it's right for you. Maybe it is not, and maybe you have to figure out and address, and maybe that's why you have going back from this is what I felt in the past, I want to continue feeling this way, but heck, I'm arguing with this person all the time, and you're torn between the memories you're kind of basing your opinion on to whatever is going on at present. So this is basically saying that you have to be prepared to move on. And this is maybe what you have been thinking, and that's maybe why you have this up and down, and that's maybe the card of the widower or card of the end over here. And this could actually now mean, in relation to this rune, that you're fighting with yourself. That this is basically you have this loyalty, and you still have a hope, but you still kind of like feel that the end is near, and this is a new start. You want to get new start. And inverse kind of means, you know what, like I was so tired of popping all these water bubbles, that's it. I'm done, and I want to be on my own, give me my toys, I'm going. So that can actually go that way as well. But also this tells you that you have to remember that your personal story is like really not over yet, and you can still rely on the lessons that you have learned. And this basically says it's a time for reassessment. And where do you want to go from here? And after you get the answer to that question, that's going to tell you about the wisdom that needs to be gained. And remember, you got this wisdom here, you got this wisdom here, and you're actually sort of getting the wisdom here by actually listening to what was in the past. So Taurus, you're going to have a week, again, getting in touch with yourself and, trying to move on and making some kind of decisions. So enjoy your week. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.